Imagine that you wake up tomorrow and do not have immediate access to food following a natural disaster, such as an earthquake, a hurricane, or a tornado. Let me share this experience with you. The date was January 12th, 2010. I had just arrived back in my brand new apartment after purchasing food at the nearest grocery store in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Now, I had just moved to the Dominican Republic to start a Fulbright Fellowship while I was a professor conducting research on the role and influence of Dominican agricultural producers on U.S.-Dominican trade talks. Now, while I was at that grocery store, there was a small earthquake. But I did not feel the true impact of that earthquake until I got back to my apartment, turned on the television, and saw that the neighboring country of Haiti had been completely devastated. Mind you, I had just bought an abundance of food in the Dominican Republic, while people in Haiti did not have immediate access to food following the same earthquake. How could a country that at one point was a self-sufficient producer of a basic staple crop, rice, not be able to feed its people and report high levels of hunger and malnutrition all year round? Now, when we look at a number of studies focused on the link between agricultural productivity and reducing hunger and malnutrition rates, many of these studies point to the fact that a significant amount of farmers in countries such as Haiti are women who do not have equal access to the resources and the technologies that would allow them to become efficient producers. Other studies look at environmental disasters, climate change. While all of these answers are valid, they ignore a larger structural issue that impacts farming communities in countries such as Haiti and developing countries all around the world. And that is our international trade policy. And in the case of Haiti, a US-imposed trade policy. 15 years prior to that earthquake, former US President Bill Clinton forced Haiti to reduce its tariffs, which are taxes that are placed on any foreign good entering the Haitian market, from 50% all the way down to just 3%. And that tariff reduction scheme was supposed to help Haiti to become a more industrialized country. Rather, it had the adverse effect. It just made Haiti dependent on the import of food from the United States. And what is even more interesting is that much of that rice that it now gets from the United States comes from Clinton's home state of Arkansas. So let's go back to those Dominican agricultural producers that I interviewed that played a role during the US-Dominican trade talks. Well, they were concerned that the exact same thing that happened to Haiti would happen to them. For this reason, when we talk about agricultural productivity, hunger, and malnutrition in the exact same sentence, I prefer to look at our international trade policies. And not for the sake of developing any more new policies, rather to rethink how we develop those policies in the first place. Now, while I have all of you on this journey with me, I'd like to ask you to travel farther away. And let's go to Sub-Saharan Africa. Different region, same situation. According to the World Bank, a number of Sub-Saharan African countries, women account for anywhere from a little bit close to 30% to over 50% of total farmers. In the 1960s, Sub-Saharan Africa was a net exporter of cereals, which includes rice, maize, wheat. Fast forward to the 21st century, Sub-Saharan Africa is a net importer of cereals. So let's look at US Sub-Saharan African trade in cereals in the 21st century. US exports of cereals, the same commodity that Sub-Saharan African countries can grow, Their export peaked at $1.8 billion in 2011. Sub-Saharan African exports of cereals peaked at a relatively measly $3.4 million, and that wasn't until 2014. So the reason why we see this increase of U.S. exports of cereals and other products and commodities, and many of these countries can grow themselves, is because of our international trade policy that encouraged developing countries to open their markets, lower their tariff rates, while at the same time, developed countries such as the United States continues to provide financial assistance through subsidies for large agribusinesses. And as you can imagine, the female farmer or farmers in general cannot compete against lower cost subsidized food imports from the United States. And it is our tax dollars that is supporting these subsidies that perpetuate the cycle that I have just described. The female farmer does not just work so that her family can eat, she works so that the world can eat. And it's these international trade policies that create a ripple effect that impact us as consumers, because now we have less access to the healthy, fresh, unmodified foods coming from many of these countries as a part of a healthier lifestyle. So what can we do? First, do no harm. To not develop policies that cause a problem and turn around and try to solve the very same problems that we have created. Secondly, invite the female farmer to the head of the table and listen to her, H-E-R, her expertise respected. And lastly, to put an end to harmful subsidies, to encourage our Congress members to vote against these agricultural subsidies and hold those Congress members who benefit from these subsidies accountable. Now let me leave you with this last thought. The food that we eat is political. By inviting the female farmer to the table to help us to develop realistic trade policies that improve their lives, that of their families and of their communities, we are enhancing the lives of all global citizens. Thank you.